Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap, and I also welcome you to the government scheme session. Today the scheme that we are covering, it is interest subvention scheme, so we are going to understand all the details of this scheme. But before that, let me know if everything is fine, if I am audible as well as visible. But I think it's fine, I checked from my end. So let's start with session. So two of you have asked me to make a session on this, so that is why we have come up with this one. And of course it is a part of a syllabus, we'll just look at it. But before starting the session, there's an announcement for all the aspirants who are preparing for central regulatory bodies. We have come up with one-stop solution guide for all the queries that you might be having regarding the organization that you would want to join. For example, if you want to know about RBI or maybe NABARD or SEBI, you are going to find all the details in it, along with the departments, what will be your responsibility once you join the organization. After that, you would want to know how to join the organization, right? So everything about the different phases that are there as an entrance examination, what is the pattern of all the phases, what is the previous year trends, its cutoff, what is the syllabus, what are the steps that you can take if you're going for self-study. So all the things are mentioned in these e-guidebooks, so you can take the benefit of them, and you can download them from the link that is present in the description box below. And do remember that these guidebooks are free of cost, so please do not miss the opportunity. And again, you can find the link in the description box below. So as I was saying, see, I have taken the snippet of ESI, that is economic and social issues. In that we have agriculture as a syllabus, and if you look at, if you're preparing for NABARD, so we know ARD component in itself, we have a separate component, and here also you would require to have knowledge of agriculture. So be it preparing for RBI or NABARD, you should have understanding of agriculture. And in fact, in other examination also, whichever you are catering, agriculture, it plays a major role, because it is part of it plays a major role in Indian economy. However, the GDP portion of it is decreasing, but still, right? So that is why we will do. And what this scheme is all about, we'll understand the base, because see, data portion is something that we can always do, but to understand the essence of it, it is very important. And here we are going to understand about the interest subvention scheme. So see, basically what happens, government, they have come up with various projects and schemes where the farmer can easily avail loan. If we talk about Kisan credit card, okay, so for that, easily availability of loan is there. And if they want to have a loan even post harvest also, if they want to store their produce, for them also there is easy process for taking loans, because usually while taking loan, there is a lot of documentation and formalities that have to be done, right? But for farmers, it has been made easy. And similarly, if you are self-help group, not only for the farmers but for the rural areas, if we talk about self-help groups, and especially women self-help groups, for them also there are various loan procedures that are being taken. But the problem is, even though the procedure have been made simpler for the farmers and the people, rural development, for the FPOs or maybe self-help groups, but the issue is still the farmer would have to pay some interest over the loan, right? That is inevitable, because of course, why the bank will provide them with loan, so they would take something back in return. So the process and the accessibility of loan was made simpler, but the interest rate that was charged, it was quite higher. On an average, if we talk about, it was somewhere around 9% for maximum types of loans. However, there is a fluctuation and differentiation, which we will look at in this session also, but usually it was around 9% for in most of the cases. Now for that, now this 9%, along with the money that has been bought by the bank, by the farmer, it is not easier for farmer to pay back, right? That is why then government came up with another scheme, that is interest subvention. You can call it an incentive, you can, in very simple language, you can say it as help. So basically what the government will do under the interest subvention scheme, they will help the farmers to repay the loan. So what the basic idea is, some part of the loan percentage that the farmer has to give, that will be given by the central government to the bank. Okay, central government to the bank, because ultimately who will take back the percentage? Bank will take. So what the basic idea is, some part of it bank will give, and usually the rate is 2%, usually in most of cases, but again we will look at it, we will in detail understand. So what will happen, so farmer on his behalf will just have to pay the 7% to the bank, and rest 2% will be given by central government to the bank. Okay, this is the basic idea of interest subvention scheme. This scheme will be applicable for many or various types of loan that are taken under there are several schemes that are present. Okay, so we are going to focus on the crop, the loan that are taken over short-term crop loans. Okay, we will look at for the post-harvest also. Some farmers would have to buy loan in detail we'll just look at it, but I'm giving an overview that what topics we are going to touch, and whatever be your queries are, I'll definitely take at the end of the session. Please be patient. And after that we'll also look at for the dairy sector. Okay, and then we will also look at in the case of natural calamities how this procedure is being done. And recently there is also for the ethanol blending, there are various capacity building that is being done, so for that also we will look at. So these are the basics. And also, yes, also for the DNRLM, that is a National Rural Livelihood Mission, where we'll talk about the women self-help groups. This will also see. There is one more case where the interest subvention scheme it works, that is your agriculture infrastructure fund. Now here I have already made it a dedicated video, I've already made a lecture on it, so you can find that in the list, government scheme playlist. And if it is not easier to find, just type in the search box, if you just type agriculture infrastructure fund EduTap, you will find the video. Okay, so from there you can look at the AIF. There the percentage is a little bit fluctuating, that is why I'm saying to look at this video also, and rest we are going to cover. But before starting and looking at the individual ones, I am just going to first tell you the basics. Okay, so the launch year of this scheme is Kharif 2006-7. 2006-7 was the time period when for the very first time this particular interest subvention scheme was launched. And see, there is no particular ministry that will look after it, because there is for different components. But yes, two agencies that we have NABARD and RBI, they will be the implementing agencies of this particular scheme. So in some cases, because we are saying that the government will back up the loan percentage that the farmer have to give back to the bank, right? So for that, in some kind, the NABARD will provide they will back up the loan, and in some cases RBI will do. The aim of this particular scheme is to provide short-term credit to farmers at subsidized interest rates. Basic idea is, first of all, you have to understand that whatever be the credit that the farmer will take, and the scheme is applicable, that is only for the short term loan only, not for the long term. Only for the short term loan this particular scheme it is applicable. And here the government, they aim that even the interest rate which will be there on the loan, that is also being provided at the subsidized rate, so that the farmer can easily give back the loan. And currently it is up till 2024-25, but it keeps on okay, because there should be certain time period for any particular scheme, right? So currently it is till 24-25. This is also the extended one, and this will again be extended once this particular time period is over. Now, provided to, why I am writing provided to, because you must be thinking this will be provided to farmers or the beneficiaries, right? But it is not the case. This money will not be given to the farmers, but this will be given to the lending institute. So this can be your public sector, this can be your private sector banks, this can be your cooperative banks, this can be your regional rural banks. Okay, these can be the areas where the banks or the lending institute, where the government will provide money either by NABARD, via NABARD, okay, or by the RBI regulations. Okay, by the RBI regulations also this works. Okay, so this is the basic understanding. Now we will understand one by one. So we'll start with interest subvention for short term crop loan. So first of all, we will talk about the crops. So for growing crops, for taking care of it, and then till harvesting also, farmers take loan with the help of Kisan credit card. Okay, in fact, in Kisan credit card also I have made the video if you want to watch the lecture. But in case you have borrowed the money or the loan above 3 lakh, then you are not eligible for interest subvention. So then you will not be eligible for the concession in the interest rate. I hope this is clear till now. Okay, first we are talking about the crop loans, and then we are talking about up to 3 lakh. Chalo itna aage samajh mein. Now we have understood that usually they have to pay 9% interest, okay, over the loan, but the government provides interest subvention up of 2%. Okay, if the farmer has bought the loan up to 3 lakh, government will provide how much interest subvention? That will be up to 2%. If you now minus this 9%, from this 9%, if you minus this 2%, why you are minusing this? Because this will be paid by the central government. How much is left? So the effective rate of interest now that is left is 7% that you would have to pay. Here I mean farmers. Okay, so by now the farmer that have to pay is 7%. This is one case. Now it can be that the loan can be of more than 1 1 year. Okay, in such case, what will be the case? If that is the case, or if the farmer has taken loan and has repaid and is taking loan again, in such case, additional subvention of 3% for prompt repayment within a period of 1 year from the date of advance. What does it mean? That if you are someone, if you are that kind of farmer who is always repaying the loan on the time that has been allocated to you, then you are eligible for additional 3% of loan. Okay, what does it mean? Then just let me read the next line, then I'll explain you. So by this, the effective rate of interest will become 4%. What does it mean? The percentage was 9% loan interest that you would have to pay, but government is providing you with 2% of interest subvention. So that will be what? That will become your 7%. I hope till now it is clear. After that, 7% is there, but this rate means here we are talking about what the farmer would have to pay, that is the interest rate, right? The farmer will pay, that will be 4%. But if we talk about effective interest subvention, which the central government has provided in such case where prompt repayment is done, in such cases it will be your 5%, 2% before and 3% afterwards. What if the farmer does not pay promptly? In such case, only 2% interest subvention will work. This 3% will not additionally be given. So you can understand this 3% as a bonus in case you are paying your rent duly or the loan percentage duly. Okay, and so here it is remain the same thing. In case farmers do not repay the short term loan in the time, okay, if they are not paying the loan in the time, they would be eligible for interest subvention of only 2%. That additional 3% will not be given. So it means as against the 5% available above. 5% is only available if you are promptly repaying. I hope there is no confusion. That is why I'm even taking the live session. So if there's a confusion, please write down if there's a confusion till yet. Okay, until then I'll just move forward. So once we have completed for the interest for the short term crop loans. Secondly, we will talk about the post harvest loan. What is now post harvest? Harvesting is basically the stage where the crops have been matured in your field and you have cut it down. So basically you have cut it down and the process is known as harvesting. Now post harvest, after you have harvested, see, it can happen that the farmer for example, the rate of the particular produce what the farmer has cultivated in his land, the rate in the market currently, they are not they are not good, right? In such cases, what the farmer usually should do, so the farmer should usually wait for the market price to rise, right? But it happens that the farmer does not have a proper storage facility. So in that case, they would sell it at any cost, because because they don't have storage facility, so it the whatever produce that has been generated, it can be wasted, right? Generated produce can be wasted because of the rainfall or maybe the pest diseases, etc., anything, right? So in such cases, what the government has come up, so government has said that we will provide you on rental basis, we will provide you with the storage facilities. But of course, because it is on rental basis, so you would have to give some money to those storage houses, right? So for that also the farmer can take loan, and while taking that loan, the government will again help them with the interest subvention, okay, or the subsidy. So as a measure to check distress sale, so the farmer just does not sell his produce at any rate just to sell it, because they don't have storage facility. Post harvest loans for storage is accredited. In accredited means you can avail the loan, okay, you can avail the loan for post harvest, these warehouses, where these storage houses or the warehouses where you can keep your produce, but these should be accredited means they should be identified, or these should be registered with the government. Okay, so accredited warehouses against negotiable warehouse receipt. So basically what you have to do, up to 6 months. In case of crops, we looked at that for 1 year it was valid, right, for the 1 year. But here up to 6 months, what you can do, you can go to the bank of we have looked at it. There were different types of banks and the lending institute we looked at from where the interest subvention scheme can work. Okay, so it is said under the post harvest loan, what is it is being said, it is being said you can avail loan, okay, for the storage purpose, but you would have to show something in return to the bank. On what basis will you take that loan? So for that you would have to show them the negotiable warehouse receipt. You would have to show them the receipt that I have stored my food grains or whatever the cultivation that the farmer has done. I have stored that in this particular warehouse, so I need some loan to pay to that warehouse because I have kept my things over there, right? And this is valid till 6 months. So still 6 months for the loan that the farmer has taken against the receipt. For that also government will provide the interest subvention. And how much? 2%. So in case of crops also we looked at, it was 2%. In case of post harvest loans also we looked at 2%. But there are two differences. First difference is what? First difference is of the time period. There was 1 year, here is of 6 months. Another difference is there is no prompt repayment subvention that is available. In case of crops we looked at the 3% additional subvention was given in case there was promptly repayment, right? But here this particular scheme is valid just for the 6 months, means this particular subvention that the government will provide for one storage time period, that will be just for 6 months, and in that only 2% subvention will be provided. So effective how much will be there? 7%. How? Because 9% is the loan percentage minus 2% that will be given by the central government, okay, and then it will be effective will be how much? It will be 7%, okay. And now because here is no prompt repayment option that is available by the government, means subvention on the prompt repayment, if you are paying back duly all the interest and the loan, there is no such facility that you will get the additional 3%. there is no such facility which we looked at the crop one, okay. Prakash, can you please if you are saying to repeat the point 2 and 3, can you please clarify if you're talking about the post harvest loan or the previous one? And also one more thing, have you watched the session from the beginning? Because if you have not, please watch it, maybe you will understand. But do tell me if you're talking about which points 2 and 3 in case of this one or the previous one, okay. So in the previous page, okay. So here see basically what the idea is, 9% is usually the loan that is taken, okay, that the bank generate as a interest rate on the loan, okay. Now 2% will be given by the central government. So how much is left? Left is 7%, okay. So you are paying your interest back to the bank at the rate of 7%, but you are the one who are paying all the installment that you have to repay to the bank, you are paying that on time, okay. So in such cases government will appreciate that efforts and they will provide with extra 3% of subvention. What does it mean? Government will appreciate that you are paying everything on time, so government will come forward and say, okay, we are providing you with additional 3% of subvention. So 2% they were initially providing, and only to the farmers. So this 2% is for everyone, but only to the farmers who are promptly repaying the loan, for them 3% additional subvention the government provide. So for such farmers, what is the effective rate of interest that they have to give back? It is 4%. Initially it was 9%, then government came up, they said 7%. But to the farmers who are very good at repaying, so for them the effective rate of interest, it becomes 4%, okay. So I hope that is clear. Now coming to the next one, that is interest subvention for relief to farmers affected by natural calamities. Now sometimes it happens that there can be flood, there can be rainfall, there can be hailstorm, and because of that the crop it gets destroyed. So in such cases what the farmer has to do, because in such cases also the farmer would have to give back the loan. Now if you are not aware of that, in such cases crop insurance can be taken, okay. So crop insurance can be taken, that is a but different case for such cases. But if the farmer has taken loan, they would have to give it back anyhow, if there is natural calamity or not. But the government, they are not that cruel, neither the banks, neither the government nor the banks, right? So in such cases also there is some fluctuations or the variables that are being done. So in such cases, the first thing is, initially the interest which the banks used to take, they would restructure that particular amount. Because of course if your all crop that you have sown in the field, if that has been destroyed, or even the more than half of it has been destroyed, how you will be able to recover the money and give back it to the bank, right? So first of all, what the banks do, they restructure the amount which the farmer would have to give back. Okay, now in previous two cases we have looked at, the government used to charge 9%, right? But here, because of natural calamity, the new percentage can be anything depending on how much destruction has the natural calamity caused, right? So here we do not have that initial percentage, but whatever be that initial percentage, for example, it can be your 8% also, it can be 7%, it can be 6%, whatever be, it can be whatever. Okay, but the interest subvention will be given 2% only. Okay, so whatever be the restructure amount which the bank will decide, of that 2% government will pay. It can be anything that even if the government, and this is I'm saying extremely, it won't go to 3%, 4%, but I'm just saying, even if bank drop to 4%, then also government will pay 2% of it. Okay, I hope this thing is clear. The restructure amount will depend on how much destruction has been caused, and 2% will be given by the central government. And there's also one more thing that you have to keep in mind, that this will be done only for the first year, will be provided to banks only for the first year and not for the rest of the years. Okay, such restructure loan will attract normal rate of interest from the second year onwards. Okay, so ये जो आपका जो रीस्ट्रक्चर अमाउंट का जो भी नॉर्मल इंटरेस्ट रेट होगा, नेक्स्ट ईयर ऑनवर्ड से जो भी आरबीआई की गाइडलाइंस होगी उसके अकॉर्डिंग होगा, लेकिन फर्स्ट ईयर के लिए थोड़ा सा चेंजेस होंगे. ओके, next we have to provide relief to farmers affected by severe natural calamity. So here only we have two cases. In both the cases natural calamity has occurred, but in first case there was like fine natural calamity, there was some damage, it was not that extreme. But another case is severe natural calamity, and this is usually your India meteorological department, they only decide and announce if it was a severe natural calamity or not. Okay, so in case of severe natural calamity, there also there is a subvention of 2% will be available to the banks. But first of all, the difference is for the 3 years or entire period, and this entire could be maximum up to 5 years. What does it mean? Let me just revise because I can understand कि थोड़ा confusing हो सकता है. देखो, natural calamity में, in case of natural calamity there can be two cases. One is normal average natural calamity that has taken place, one is severe natural calamity has been taken place. Okay, now in such cases, first of all, the interest subvention will be 2%, that is common in both the cases. Now what are the differences? In case of the moderate natural calamity, that was your average or moderate natural calamity, in such cases that was being provided for the first year only, and from the second year onwards, whatever be the normal rate of interest that were there, that would have to be paid by the farmer. Okay, and of course that will be the restructured percentage only, right? In case of severe natural calamity, because here we are assuming, or in such cases there is total damage of crops. Okay, so in such cases the government, they will provide with this restructured subvention in the restructured the loan. In that cases the government will provide for the first 3 years, or it can be even in entire period with maximum 5 years, means till 3 to 5 years wherever you would lie, here the government will help you with it. Okay, and one more additional thing here you have to understand, that in case of moderate natural calamity, there were no additional incentive that was given on prompt repayment, because we have understood that from second year onwards there will be the normal rate of interest that will be charged, whatever be the policy laid by RBI. But in such cases where there is severe natural calamity, there will also be additional 3% repayment that you are going to get. ठीक है, अब I can understand, again it can be confusing, so I'll just start again. We'll have a quick revision. In case of short term crop loans, we looked at there was additional 3% subvention that was given, right? And by that we had the effective rate of interest of 4%. But then we looked at, in post harvest case, we looked at that there was no additional subvention that was provided in prompt repayment, right? So there was just the 2% subvention that was given. So the effective rate of interest there was 7%, from 9 to 7. Okay, now third we come to in case of natural calamities. Now in case of natural calamities we have two conditions. One condition is moderate natural calamity, and the another one is the severe natural calamity. So in case of moderate natural calamity, there we looked at how only 2%, sorry, not only 2%, but yes, 2% interest subvention is given, but just for first year. and after second year, whatever be the rate of interest that has been laid down by RBI, only that will be have to be given by the farmers. But in case of severe natural calamities, subvention of 2% is available, that is for sure, but not just for 1 year, but for 3 to maximum of 5 years. Okay, first is the difference is this. Another thing is about here we are also providing with the additional interest subvention of 3% for the prompt repayment, whereas in case of moderate natural calamity there was no prompt repayment incentive. ओके, आई होप अभी तक सब क्लियर है, अभी तक कोई इशू नहीं है. नाउ नेक्स्ट कम्स विद द इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन अंडर डे NRLM. इट इज योर दीन दयाल अंत्योदय योजना, नेशनल रूरल लाइवलीहुड मिशन. इट कम्स अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट. आई हैव ऑलरेडी मेड अ वीडियो ऑन इट. You can watch it if you want to know more about this particular scheme. But here under this, first of all we are talking about women self-help groups. So first of all, who would get this benefit of this particular scheme? It will be given to women self-help groups. Okay, up to maximum amount of what? Up to the maximum amount of 3 lakh. Acha, in case of in case of loans we looked at, for the crops we looked at, it was also the condition of 3 lakh also. Okay, in case of natural calamity there is no duration and no maximum amount, because there the crops has already been suffered, so we cannot actually limit it to some kind of loan, right? Because any farmer would have to suffer, even if they are quite rich or not, but they would have to suffer in such cases, right? Even if they've taken a higher loan expecting that they can give better returns, right? They can get better returns and then they can give back the loan. So there, in case of natural calamity, there is no such case of duration or the maximum limit. Okay, in case of NRLM, again we are looking at maximum of 3 lakh if the loan has been taken. The women self-help groups, they are eligible under this particular scheme. Now one more thing. Please, I am again saying I am live here so that your confusions can be cleared, and I hope मैं काफी comprehensive way में समझा रही होंगी. You are getting everything. I am trying to be as comprehensive as possible, but if there is any confusion you can ask in the live chat, or if you will look at the recorded session you can ask in the comment section. Okay, now here see what the difference is. By till now we have understood that how 9% is the usual rate, right? And from that 2% was given by the central government, was given by the government, and by that case the effective rate of interest was becoming 7%. That was just normal. We are not talking about if the prompt repayment and all this thing, that's a secondary thing. But currently we have to look at 9%, 2% and effective rate of interest then becomes the 7%. Now in case of this particular criteria that is under day NRLM, in such cases the government, they don't aim to provide in subvention of 2%. Rather their aim is to reduce the effective interest up to 7%. What does it mean? For example, the lending rate by any lending institute, it was 11%. In such cases government will aim to reduce this 11% to 7%. So in such cases, how much interest subvention does the government is providing? In such cases they are providing with 4%. Right. For example, there was only 9% the interest rate that is charged by any lending institute. So in such cases, how much the central government will provide? It will provide with subvention of only 2%. For example, any lending institute was charging 10% from the women self-help groups. In such cases, how much the government they will provide to reduce it to 7%? 3%. So here in case of the day NRLM, there is no specific interest subvention that will be provided by the government, but they will aim to reduce that to 7%. Okay, and but there is a condition that the maximum up to 3 lakh if the SHG has taken loan, only in that cases they will take benefit under this particular scheme. Okay, next is the self-help groups will also get additional interest of 3%. ठीक है, reducing the effective rate of interest to 4%. Now it can be the case, देखो अब ये 4% कैसे हुआ effective when we have not talked about 9%, है ना? देखो एक बात को समझो. पहले तो initially, because what I have told you that this additional interest subvention, it is a secondary thing. It is the thing when you are promptly paying or not. So that's a secondary case. But this particular first step, it is common for all, even if you are promptly paying or not, right? So in first case, the whatever be the interest subvention that the government will give, it is not fixed, because here the aim is to reduce it to 7%, right? But in second case, if you are promptly paying, you will be awarded with additional interest subvention of 3%, right? So in such cases, because see, initially whatever be the subvention that the government is providing, whatever be the X percentage government will be giving from the lending rate, then it will come to 7%, right? This is what the aim of the government is. Now in the secondary case, the government will additionally subtract your 3%, means the government will pay in on your behalf. Then if you look at what will be now the effective rate of interest that is being left, it is now 4%. I hope you understand why this is 4%, because it is not linked to what was initially set up by the banks, right? Initially whatever it was, initially it was reduced to 7% by any percentage that has been provided, and then again 3% was subtracted, and then it remained 4%. And do mind, it is effective rate of interest, it is not effective rate of interest subvention, right? Effective rate of interest subvention will be different and will be fluctuating, variable for different types of conditions, right? Because here the lending rate can be anything. Okay, I hope it is clear. Next we are talking about interest subvention for dairy sector. Okay, in such case of dairy sectors, now what is the case? First of all, till now we have looked at either there was some limit, there was no limit, for example in case of calamities, or it was 3 lakh. But in case of dairy sector, what is the limit? It is, the limit is up to 2 lakh. Okay, and on the working capital loan. Okay, one thing is this. Another thing is how much subvention will be given. Subvention is of 2%, just like all the rest that we have seen. An additional incentive of 2%, not 3% that we looked in the previous cases. अभी confusing हो सकता है. मैंने क्या करा है? I have kept one table at the end of this particular lecture so that you can have a quick revision. You, me, both we will have a quick revision, and you can even look at afterward also. Okay. So here is the case. Up to 2 lakh we have looked at. 2% subvention on the first step, that is common for all. And if you are promptly repaying the loan amount or the interest service, then you will get additional incentive of 2%. Okay, effective rate of 2%. Now for ethanol distillation capacity, so basically we know the aim of the government, it is to have more natural ways which are, you know, economically as well as environmentally sustainable, right? So we are looking for alternative of fuels and everything. So for that, government, they are promoting ethanol capacity building. So capacity building is being done so that ethanol can be produced and can be utilized as fuel and different purpose. And in fact, the waste that is generated, that can also be used in agriculture sector. Okay, for that now, and this is newly has been involved under the interest subvention scheme. So here, because we are talking about establishing a industry, a factory, so of course the loan amount will be bigger only. Okay, so here invention, first of all, this subvention will be for 5 years. So here you have looked at maximum for 5 years, and in one more case we looked at for 5 years, right? What was it? It was the severe natural calamity case, right? So subvention of 5 years, including 1 year of moratorium. So in moratorium period, basically there is a buffer gap has been given, because if you have taken so much loan, of course not from the 1 month only you will be able to repay the loan amount or the interest amount, right? You need some time period so that your industry can also work, and there's some time period that you need, right? So 1 year of moratorium is there, and subvention will be given, provided by the central government of for 5 years. Now how much will be given? So there is two condition, and either of which will fulfill. Either 6% per annum of the total amount that has been taken by you as a loan, or 50% of the rate of interest charged by the bank, whichever is lower. Right? And why? Now don't get confused, because here is 50% so much and just 6%. It depends on how much loan have you taken. So if you have taken a lot of loan, then in such cases government will be able to pay just 6%, right? But if you have taken considerable amount of loan, and there in such cases government, they can help you with 50% of the loan amount. Of course that will be depend on how much loan you have taken, and whichever be the lower in case of either of the two, either the 6% per annum of the loan or the 50% of the rate of interest charged by the banks. Okay, whatever be the lower, that will depend on it. Sorry, I think I just said the opposite. Here 50% of the rate of interest charge. Okay, so whatever be the rate of interest charge, of that 50% will be taken by the government, and whichever will be the lower. Okay, either will the case. For example, if there is one case scenario, the government is taking, for example, For example, in one case, and I'm just for the simple sake of saying, I'm telling you, a government is taking 15% of loan, and in one case, what the government is doing, government is just taking 10% of loan. Okay, so now in this case, what will be the half of it? Half of it will be 5%. Okay, and here it is 15%, and here the government can give up to 6%, because half of it will be 7.5, so up to 6% only government can give. Now in both the cases, if you are looking at which will be the lower one, it will be the lower one, 5%. Okay, so this is just to give you an idea that government will also want to have the have some profit. They can't just give everything. So either the two cases, depending on how much percentage the government, lending institute is charging on the loan that you have taken, either 6% per annum of the loan, or 50% of the rate of interest charged by the bank. So whatever be the rate of interest, of that 50% will be charged. Okay, so by this we have completed the all the types. There is one more that I am telling you, agriculture infrastructure fund. I would tell you to watch the session. I have already made the video. Just search on it, YouTube, just write this name and add EduTab, you will find it. Okay, now let's have a quick revision. First of all, we'll talk about crop loan, and we know the timeline was of 1 year. Okay, for now in that case, there was a limit also of money that was of 3 lakh, up to 3 lakh, not above that. Now the interest subvention that the government was giving, so total was how much? Total was 9%. What the government was giving? 2%. So then the effective rate of interest, what it does, it become? It becomes 7%. But so here also effective rate of interest is 7%, but only in the condition where the promptly repayment of the loan has been done. In such cases, government, they will provide additional of 3% of interest subvention. Okay, so in such cases, what the effective interest subvention will become? So interest subvention will be 2% plus 3%. First of all, do mind, this is interest subvention. So 2% plus 3%, how much will be given? 5%, only in the cases where promptly repayment is done. But in case, if we talk about effective rate of interest, in such cases where both step 1 and step 2 is followed, in such cases, your whatever be the rate of interest, that will become to 5. How much? Because 7, it was 7, and 7 minus 3 will become how much? 7 minus 3 will become your 4%. Second come post harvest storage, 6 months and up to 75. What does it mean? We know that there is a upper limit, right? So upper limit of 75% of the loan taken, that only it will be considered in case of post harvest storage. Interest subvention 2%. So how much the effective rate of interest will become? It will become 7%. Okay, and there is no additional interest subvention case that has been followed in this case. So then effective interest subvention, because there is no additional, there is no step 2, that is why only step 1 follows, right? Simple mathematics or reasoning, you would say. So 2% will remain, the effective interest subvention will remain 2%, and effective rate of interest will remain 7%. In case of natural calamity, no limit and no duration, interest subvention will be 2% for 1 year only, and after that, whatever be the rate of interest by the RBI, only that will be there. Effective rate of interest will be how much? So this is your restructure amount that will be there. That is why I have written RA, restructure, because we do not know how much it will be. It can be anything. It depends on bank to bank, right? But of that 2% the government will give. Okay. And here also, in case of moderate natural calamity, there is no provision of additional sub interest. So again, only step 1 follows. So how much interest subvention the government is giving? Only 2%. And if we talk about effective rate of interest which the farmer would have to pay, that will be whatever be the restructure amount will be, and minus the 2%. In case of severe natural calamity, again no limit, no duration. Here also, initially 2% will be provided for 3 to 5 years, and the rate of whatever be the effective rate of interest, that will be given by the farmer. Of course, that would depend on first the whatever be the restructured amount that is there, and minus 2% which will be given by the central government. Okay, here is again another step. If you are promptly repaying, then you are eligible. That is 3% additional subvention the government will provide, and by this effective interest subvention will become 5%. Here what the government will give, so government will give, that is for sure, 2 plus 3, 5%. But what the farmer will give, that is a variable. Why that is a variable? Because of course that will depend on first whatever be the restructure amount will be. That is why I have not written here the effective rate of interest that will be given by the farmer, because for that we first have to know whatever be the restructure amount by the banks. Okay, I hope till now it is clear. Next we have day NRLM. In day NRLM also the limit is up to 3 lakh for the women self-help groups. Here also interest subvention. Now here we don't know about interest subvention. In above cases we looked at 2%, 2%, 2%, and in fact in dairy sector also we looked at 2%. But in case of day NRLM for women self-help groups, we do not know how much interest subvention the government will give, but we know for sure whatever be the lending rate, that should be reduced to 7%. That is case 1. So again, if we talk about what is the effective rate of interest, so here actually that will be effective rate of interest, it will not be variable, it will be 7%, because we are not talking about effective interest subvention. Had we been asked about that, then it would have been variable, but it is effective rate of interest, so effective rate of interest will become 7%. Okay, here now you have again given the additional interest subvention, it is being provided. Now see, there are two categories here in day NRLM. There are two categories. In one categories, which are the identified districts. So there are two categories. One is identified districts and one are the non-identified means rest of the districts. Okay, so in case of identified districts, this 3% additional subvention will be given only to those categories, and the ones who do not come under this identified districts, they will not be given this additional second step. Okay, I hope that is clear. So in such cases, effective interest subvention, then again interest subvention, it is variable, right? Effective interest subvention will become variable because we do not know, we just want to reduce it to 7%, but effective rate of interest will become 4%. How will become 4%? Because first we have reduced it to 7 and then we are further minusing this 3%, which will again be paid by government. So what the women would have to pay, they would have to pay only 4%. In case of dairy sector, we have looked at up to 2 lakh, 2% will be given and additional 2% will be given in case of prompt repayment. Okay, then effective rate of interest, okay, so this is in the case of ethanol. Is the ethanol capacity building we are talking about. I'll just edit it afterwards. Okay, so it is for that 5 years we know, and either 6% or 50% of the interest rate provided by the bank. Okay, so this was the overall sum up of that, and this is the homework. According to interest subvention scheme, what is the effective rate subvention farmers get for the short term crop loan up to 3 lakh if the repayment is done promptly? So this is the question and you have to write the answer, comment it. And these are the toppers of the last session. Chetan has said the right answer, Kirutika has said the right answer, Tamanna has said the right answer, Bhargav has said the right answer, then we have Preeti saying the right answer, Rishabh saying the right answer. VTC asked me to make a scheme on this particular topic. And one more, I also had in my previous lectures also, there was request to make a scheme on this, and that is why I made it. And Ritik, okay, I have taken your suggestions. Okay, I'll add it in the future lectures. So that is all in this video. If you like the session, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can also join our Telegram channel to get the PDF of this and every lecture that we provide here on YouTube. And if you have any question, any queries, if you watch the session afterwards, do comment it down. I'll reply either in below your comment only, or in the next session, if so that if there is some question and other might be having it, it can be cleared. So you can always suggest me if you want me to cover any scheme, and I'll just take the questions that have been given. Welcome VTC, hello. Next scheme, Gram Sadak Yojana and Reform Linked Distribution Scheme. Okay, so I have taken your suggestion, and I think Gram Sadak Yojana mein pehli video ban gayi hai. Please look at it. I am enrolled student. I have a print copy of February government scheme and I am facing difficulties in reading, or you can say I get bored. Is there any video of Feb government scheme? See, there's no month wise that we provide here on this, but what you can do, if you are finding it difficult to understand some scheme, you can just type it. Maybe I have made a session on that. Okay, so you can do. Prakash Punj, you should give priority to government schemes and then current affairs, ARD current affairs. What are the open sources available, because the which you make covers only important ones. Impana, see, usually the schemes that are mentioned in PIB, they are being asked in examination. So what you can do, you can just every day, or every day you can just scroll to PIB, and whatever schemes that have been mentioned, you can cover those. And then how to cover, either you can search it on Google, search it on YouTube, and sometimes PIB they themselves they have given full explanation of it, so you can just take off it. Subvention or amount in case warehouse receipt. Shashank, for that We have understood 2% will be given, right? And there is no there will be no subvention for prompt repayment. Is it applicable? Yeah, Devashish, for natural calamities. So if any yeah, for all natural calamities it is there, and it can be anything, but it should be natural. Should I give priority? No. Current affairs should be given in comparison to government schemes and ARD current affairs. ARD current affairs should be given lesser priority, and in ARD current affairs, when you will start with MSP, advanced estimate. These are the things that are asked more in comparison to random ARD current affairs. Ma'am, I am enrolled student. I think Prakash, I have already replied it to you. Okay, so I hope that's all, and thank you for being in the session, and all the very best for examination. I'll come again with another